We are talking about Star Wars Andor. The very first 3 episodes dropped, and we are going to review them one at a time, starting with episode 1 right now. And if you don't know how it works, let me explain it really quickly. Basically, there are 2 numbers on the screen, and when we like something on the screen, we're going to give it a +1, and when we dislike something, we're going to give it a -1. And at the end of the review, we're going to average those 2 numbers out and come up with an official Popcast score for that single episode of Andor.
That Jared Fogle comment right now is just killing me over
Okay,
here. Members,
all right.
listen, if you guys aren't members of Popcast, our members are watching this live right now, so you should go check out our member section because we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, inside jokes all around. Okay. All right, so we open up pretty much.
Should I explain what the series is about first?
Yes, please explain.
Okay. Star Wars Andor. The series will explore a new perspective from the Star Wars galaxy, focusing on Cassian Andor's journey to discover the difference he can make. The series brings forth the tale of the burgeoning rebellion against the Empire and how people and planets become involved. It's an era filled with danger, deception, and intrigue, where Cassian will embark on the path that is destined to turn him into a rebel hero. That's what the show's about. But that was much more exciting the way I read it than the first 3 episodes.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's the Superman theme song.
Well, see, I would hum the Star Wars theme song, but even me humming it would get a copyright claim.
Oh, dang. Nice.
Yeah. So you have to do like a really crappy version of it or something in order for it to work. Like
Superman is very close to Star Wars anyway.
You know. Anyway.
Just lost half our viewers.
So this is it. This is Star Wars Andor. Here we go, folks.
We're ready, guys. That's what. Oh, if you guys, okay, well, we should really say, if you saw Rogue One, a Star Wars story or whatever the heck it was called, good. It was a good movie. This is leading up to that, and this is starting out basically 5 years before that event.
Yeah. Can I tell you my very first gripe here, Shane?
Sure.
The fact that this was already approved for 5 seasons is preposterous.
Well, that's the way streaming works now, though. It's not like the old shows.
Not really, bro. That's not the way other streamings, like, they don't go, you know what? Hey, that new show, that new series, The Rookie Feds, 5 seasons. Good luck, boys.
Well, Amazon just gave Rings of Power 5 seasons. Star Trek seems to give 2 seasons at a time.
I understand 2 seasons.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is like the way they're shooting this thing, like it's going to be like 10 episodes that really probably could have been like 3 episodes. So what is 5 seasons? 15 episodes? You know what I mean?
I guess.
I mean, seriously, like literally, episode 2 when we get there, nothing happened.
Wait. So how many episodes per season?
Probably 10. That seems to be like the running thing here.
So we're gonna get like 50 episodes of this thing, and they're gonna spread it out over a period of like 3 years.
Yeah, so it must be 12 episodes a season because they're showing Cassian Andor as 24 episodes of the show for 22 and 23.
Interesting.
So 12, I guess.
Sounds like a lot of TV.
Yeah, but we got an episode shorter. Anyways, yeah. It's like watching a video episode.
All right, well, here we go. Andor, we open up. This is a pretty cool theme, by the way.
Yeah, I actually like the opening theme. It was serious. It has the sound of the matching thriller it's supposed to be.
Is it a thriller?
That's what they describe it as.
Okay. All right. Doesn't feel like it. I'm gonna tell you something. Okay. For all 3 episodes, very little thrilling anything happened, just to be clear. Okay?
That's true.
So like when you call something a thriller, I expect a little more than
They're calling it Star Wars for grown-ups, which is weird because I always thought Star Wars was for grown-ups. But
yeah, is Star Wars not for grown-ups? Because
apparently not. Because Andor is now for Star Wars grown-ups.
So I've been a child my whole life and I just didn't know it. I guess that makes sense, actually.
Yeah, espionage thriller. I wouldn't even say that. It's weird, but we'll see.
All right, so you're gonna have to explain what's happening on screen because I I nodded off like several times.
No problem. We are on Morlana 1, which is part of the Morlana corporate zone. This is taking place in BBY 5. And if you don't understand Star Wars years, you have before, basically, when Luke destroyed the first Death Star, and after. So this takes place 5 years before Luke destroys the Death Star in Star Wars A New Hope. As you all know, Rogue One, the movie we watched, took place essentially right before A New Hope begins. And this is the show leading up to that event. And Cassian Andor is, of course, the main character of the story.
Okay. I'm taking the snow off because it's hard to see the screen.
Yeah. Oh, so he's walking through basically a red light district. This is obviously a seedy place.
And here's the deal. This looks cool.
Yeah.
Looks rad. In fact, the red light district part of this actually looks like almost practical. Like, I like the idea of bubbles. Because so in the real red light district, can we get them in bubbles?
It's windows. If you go to the red light district in
right now it's windows, but the bubbles are way cooler looking.
Yeah, and it's futuristic. I would upvote this whole initial series here. He goes into a strip club or prostitute's den or something like that. And he's looking for
or what I like to call my cousin's house.
What?
Sorry.
We're related. It's like weird.
All right. Okay. So explain this character real quick.
So Cassian?
Yeah, Cassian.
So Cassian is a how do you explain this character? He is part of the rebellion. Before this show starts, we really don't know anything about him other than we know what happens in the events of Rogue One and how he's a part of that whole movement. And this tells his story. But what we find out here from him is that he's basically looking for a girl. And he believes this is a place that she was located. So without giving up too much about him, that's kind of what we know up to this point.
Okay. And what is Andor based off of?
That's his last name.
Right. Okay. So I find it hilarious how many posts out there are asking
what planet Andor is.
What planet Andor is.
You know, this is just proof that people read headlines and not content. So
it's really quite funny, actually.
What system is planet Andor in?
Because I'm not even like a hyper fan of this, and like I remember his name was something Andor. So
I mean, I get it. It sounds like
Andor, right?
So I get it. I mean, I get it. You know, if you're not a big Star Wars fan, but you know what? Put a little more effort into it. People just start talking before really thinking much.
Yeah.
I love this girl's haircut. Like somebody took a buzzsaw to the top of it. It was like,
yeah. It looks like she had a fro, and someone took one of those like hedge clippers and just like.
It's secretly what I've always wanted to do. Like when I see a giant afro, I'm like, wouldn't it be cool to like just cut that in half? And here it happened. It's interesting. And you'll notice later in one of the shows, it's still the same the next time we see her, and she's not hanging out here.
Right. So, it's like a reverse high top.
It's weird.
Okay. Yeah. So he's in.
This is funny.
A CD. Go ahead.
He's looking for a girl from a planet called Canary. This girl's coming on to him like, hey, what do you want to do here? But he's like pushing it off. He doesn't really. These guys get mad because she comes and talks to him first. Now, these guys are part of like local security, and they work for the Empire. Okay, so
right, yeah, I find it interesting how the Empire has sort of like farmed out their security to these local firms.
Yeah, so what we were talking about with in the beginning of this thing, Morlana, part of the Morlana corporate zone, they've got their own like security system, but it's all part of the Empire.
Yeah, I do like too that even though they're the baddies, like they're even more afraid of the Empire. You know, like they also don't want any trouble from the Empire. So like the Empire really is like the ultimate baddies.
Yeah, and I think they do a really good job of getting the flavor of Star Wars here. Like this feels very Star Wars to me.
It feels like Star Wars.
Without like needing a bunch of Wookiees and people running around.
Yeah, so. It feels like Star Wars without anything Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, well said.
Interesting though. We were talking about this earlier. Most of this was actually practical sets, which is actually impressive. Especially considering most of these big shows nowadays are using those wraparound projector screens,
Yeah.
like Mandalorian. A lot of this was practical, like they made practical sets, and I like that. I wish someone would have advertised like that. That would have been good marketing, by the way, and no one even mentioned it.
I mean, maybe if people don't really even understand it. I mean, you have to really understand how movies used to be made, because young people today are kind of like, oh, what? So,
But that's the way Star Wars was made, though. Practical sets.
right. Well, at least initially, yeah. But this scene is really great here. Let me upvote this.
I'm not upvoting it.
It's a long shot of Cassian, and we're hearing what the guys are saying as they come up from behind him. They never show it. It's it kind of is a little suspenseful. It kind of puts you on edge a little bit because you don't know exactly what's happening, and it's all from his perspective. You don't see a lot of things shot this way. Most people are too afraid. That's the one thing this show is going to be. Andor is going to be cool because they get 5 years and nobody's going to give them any trouble. They're going to do whatever they want, and it would take bravery to just leave this long shot on him as this thing happens. Nobody would ever do that in a show that had to worry about, whether or not people are going to be okay with that and not tune out.
Right.
So, So kudos to Tony Gilroy for this, the creator.
Okay. That's cool. I don't think it's upvote worthy, but it's cool.
Well, as far as cinematics go, if you love the way, movies are made, that was a really well done thing.
Yeah. These guys do look menacing,
I had a moment here where I was worried because he says, he's got this moment here where he's like, he was afraid to move. So he put his hands up and he was afraid to move and get something out of his pocket because he didn't want to give them a reason to shoot him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, is this like a political statement? Because we have a lot of that going on right now with people of color being
hands
pulled
up,
over.
hands up, don't shoot or whatever. Yeah.
Right. But then you realize it was a tactic for him to get them closer to him so that he could take them down.
Right.
So then you're like, oh, okay, well, it wasn't that. Thank you for that. So.
Yeah, you know what they when I was in the military, they used to teach you to like never actually place your weapon on your target because then you're showing them exactly where the weapon is.
Yeah, that's true.
So like you need to be in a certain distance away so that they can't there's a whole tactic to it, but like you don't actually want to be that close when you're training a weapon on someone.
Right. And so as we'll learn later. So this is interesting because Cassian didn't really show this sort of character in Rogue One. He basically just murders this dude straight out. And this guy's begging for his life. Yeah. And Cassian kills him. And I'm like, whoa, okay, I didn't see that coming.
I have a wife and 3 daughters.
Like I didn't see these guys deserve basically to be killed. Or at least deserve to get their butts severely beat to learn a lesson. But he outright murders him here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this is really making a statement for this character that's not how I saw this character. And to be frank with you, everything else we see from this character going forward to this point, this does not make sense.
Right. So I'm actually upvoting this because this is what this was a strong opening. But I'm
downvoting it.
I'm going to be downvoting it later on.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess
from a chronological point of view, this is good.
That's a good point. Yeah, this is actually good, but we have to remember later on, like, that's not who.
I'm going to remember because the character they're introducing us to the scoundrel Han Solo, not the reformed scoundrel, the original scoundrel, and we do not get that in later on.
Yeah. It's different. This is not the same character. It's weird. You're right, because this guy is not the same guy we see here shortly.
Yeah.
Like he understands he can't leave him behind. We learn later that he stole this ship.
By the way, I'm sorry, go ahead.
He didn't want to leave behind anybody, but it didn't seem like he really contemplated killing him. Like it didn't look difficult. And I think that this character, it should have been not easy for him to kill that guy, in my opinion.
Right. And now he's afraid or whatever. Now the ship looks rad.
Ship's cool.
I'm avoiding the ship. It looks like, guys, this looks like what a Star Wars ship is supposed to look like. And I'm so tired of most Star Wars ships. Like after the prequel, not all of them, but after once the prequels came out, for some reason, Star Wars ships lost a lot of what identified them as a Star Wars ship, like the rustic tones, the metal, the way the lights almost look like those retro, like those old school lamps, those old school flash bulbs, but they're not wrapped properly. Like the style of Star Wars ships were always awesome to me. Like my favorite ships were not actually from Star Trek or anything else. It was from Star Wars that had the best ships. But prequels came out and ruined it all. They all just became generic starships.
Shiny. Yeah, no, like Luke's speeder was like my favorite vehicle.
Right.
Growing up, because it was beat up. It was like, it's real. That's the one thing about Andor.
This looks like my Jeep. Right.
Yeah. This show is very realistic. Like there's a lot of realism in this show, like just the textures and what you can imagine people who are not well off in the Star Wars universe, kind of how their stuff would be.
Right. And my favorite of the Star Wars ships was the B-wing, not the X-wing. And that's for the basics. Okay. It was the B-wing, and this has the same, for lack of a better term, nacelles that the B-wings had.
Millennium Falcon's the best one. That's it.
I mean, come on. Everyone's favorite thing is either the X-wing or the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. Well, those were the heroes, bro.
Yeah, but when you played the video games, the B-wing had the best maneuverability. That's all I'm saying.
I'm too old for the video games.
No, you weren't. You were in your early 20s when it came out.
I didn't play video games then.
No.
I mean, are you talking about arcade or like at home?
I think it was both, but it doesn't matter. All right. So this is the Ferrix Morlani system free trade sector.
Yeah, this is where Cassian lives.
And the droid, cool. Not worth an upvote, but cool. It was
cool to see droid.
Once again, this show looks as close to what Star Wars is supposed to look like since Star Wars.
Yeah, I would say that's true. Yeah, it definitely has that realistic feel. I mean, look at the droid's old and beat up, which we'll find out later is, it's just they really tried to tell the story in a way. I mean, look how beat up the droid is. Now, as soon as I saw these guys, I knew what was going to happen. He was getting pissed on for sure.
Dude, those things look like Torgs, like the Klingon dogs or whatever.
They are basically dogs, these things.
Yeah. And look at this. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back. It's fresh review. Look at, what is this creature to the right? It looks like an actual creature with
it's not a bantha, but it's like something you ride, obviously.
Right. Is it like they look like Torgs, bro. I love them. Yeah, that thing. Damn it. It went by too quick. Anyways, that looks like a big giant bantha or something.
It's not a bantha for sure, but it looks like a giant lizard thing or something they ride.
Yeah.
Then he pees on him. I totally saw that coming. I'm like, he's definitely going to pee on that.
Yep, I saw it coming too.
Yeah.
Although I like the R2D2 reference. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is very Star Wars, man. Everything here is just so Star Wars.
Or right there, if you go back to that scene one back,
or Wally.
Or Wally. Yeah. That's what I got there. I'm like, hey, it's Wally.
Wally. Yep, that's very Wally looking. Dude, how cool would it be to have a live action Wally, like for real?
No, it would be cool. I would. Disney and it's not Disney product, but don't be surprised. Disney's live actioning everything. Look, this character, this droid's name is B2 Emo. Get it?
No. You mean like B Emo?
Like B2 Emo, and it's kind of a downer droid.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe they weren't intending to do that, but
yeah, I didn't catch that. I don't like. That's one thing that really bothered. I know the original droids had personality, but like, they didn't start off with personality. Like
Wow.
No, they didn't.
3PO had heavy personality.
I mean, so 3PO felt but it felt sort of generic. Like you didn't actually like he annoyed you more than you liked him initially, and then you slowly started to like him. It feels like every droid since the prequels has like they're trying like either they're trying to sell a ton of toys or they want you to like just be enamored with this thing right off the bat, and like it actually strips the possible personality away from the inanimate objects when you do that.
Well, maybe that's why having it peed on was maybe a message that they weren't doing that, because no kid wants their droid peed on.
All right, so that's my first downvote.
Okay, so you got a flashback to Cassian's youth and where he was in a tribe on Canary.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I don't. This is, I guess, a general downvote.
Go ahead. Real quick before you downvote it. So he was looking when he went to that place looking for a girl. He was looking for his sister, and that's her that's standing next to him right here.
Yeah. Prediction. His sister is still alive, and she works for the Empire.
Of course.
Yeah. She's gonna be like some Darth Vader lackey or something.
Something weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't be Darth Vader. Well, maybe it'll be Darth. I don't know.
All right. So, anyways, I do not like. Like, I don't understand how there are people that live in tribes and people that are and other people that are traveling at light speed. I don't understand.
I can explain it.
Okay, explain it to me.
So Canary was a system that was just an outlying system. It really wasn't part of the whole thing. And essentially the Empire was using it to just mine. So they were coming in and it had a native culture and that they weren't engaged into what was happening. These people were not part of Star Wars, so to speak. And they were mining the planet for, as you can see in a little bit. And that's the story that's leading up to here. But so the reason why, and I was annoyed because I wasn't getting subtitles when these kids were talking and it was bugging me. But then I realized the reason they do that is because they really want these to be like Aboriginals in our society, in our world. Truly a tribe off the map that nobody even cares or thinks about exists on this planet. So that's
that one island that's in the Indian Ocean that is off limits to go to because have you heard about that? There's a tribe that lives there in this island that's been there for like 60,000 years. And the Indian government will not allow you to go to this island because anyone that's ever stepped foot on the island has been murdered by these and there's camera footage. There's footage of this. People take footage from far away of these basically just natives. They're just like naked spear chucking natives. And they've been on this little island for like 60,000 years. And they just murder anyone that goes there. Because there was one person that went there like 60 years ago and they got sick because of this one guy because they have no immune system.
Interesting. I have never heard of that. That's a very interesting story.
Yes. I put it in that in one of our channels for the mystery things.
That's
even
a cool idea.
Really mystery.
That would make because the title of that thumb is going to be Cannibals in 2022 or something like that.
Oh yeah, no, they're crazy. Like the missionary went there a couple years ago. Thinking like I'm gonna go spread the good word. Like I'm not making fun of Christianity. I'm saying that like that Christian was an idiot,
right?
And he was told, dude, don't. What are you doing? And he lands. He's live streaming it, bro. And he lands on the shore, and they immediately just murder him and bury him in the sand right there in front of cameras.
All right. Well,
it took all of 3 minutes for him to be murdered. I'm not making fun. I'm not laughing at someone's murder. I'm laughing at
I get it.
Stupidity.
No, I understand.
That's the Darwin Awards right there for you, bud.
Got it. So one of the troubling things also about this previous scene, which there are no adults. So it's
how does that work?
I don't know. I didn't see any adults here. So, and they didn't really explain why that's the case, which I thought was strange. So
yeah,
I thought they were going to explain it, and it does not look like. Well, you'll see as we go through it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the subtitle thing because like that was another reason for my downvote. I hated that. I didn't understand it. And what you say makes sense. What you say makes sense, but it still bothered me. I don't know.
Can we see the scores so I can kind of see where we're at up and down?
Oh, my bad. I keep forgetting to put them up. We're at 2-2.
Okay. So did we downvote? Well, I can downvote.
No, we didn't downvote the. I mean, I upvoted the blaster shot to the face, and you said you want to downvote it. I said we should wait until.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Do you want to still downvote that?
No, let's keep going.
All right. Yeah. All right. So this is Cassius's.
Cassian.
Thank you. Cassian's unlevel home. He's basically parked inside.
It's not even his home.
It's not. What is it?
No, it's just like he crashed there overnight. Oh. It's definitely not his. He lives with Marva.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it looks cool. This all looks like Star Wars, man.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? Have you been to Galaxy's Edge yet?
I haven't been to Disney since it opened. No.
Okay, so Disneyland sucks, but Galaxy's Edge is actually pretty rad.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I'm saying this right now, but I wish that I would have spent the majority of my time in Galaxy's Edge as a true Star Wars fan, because there was so much to do there, and it looked like this. Like when you walk through, it looks like an outpost somewhere in Star Wars. It has the same vibe, dude. Same everything. And it's really rad. And as I'm watching this thing, I kept getting like the Galaxy's Edge vibe. And it's a really cool thing in Disneyland because the stormtroopers and droids and like all the actors that work in that land,
yeah,
like they interact with you.
Well, I'm surprised. Well, I wonder how long that will last because that's not how Disney usually behaves.
I get that, but it was hilarious. I have it on camera somewhere. We're like walking. We were walking around or something like that, and I made a joke. I'm like, the Force is not with that one or something like that.
Right.
Referring to one of the stormtroopers that was a little shorter than the other stormtrooper. And the guy's like, he was like, "What are you, the last of the Jedis? Huh?
Yeah.
Get your lightsaber, citizen, and move on." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Oh, it was great, man. It was pretty cool. But this whole thing gives me that whole vibe. It has a very Galaxy's Edge vibe. And you're probably right. Disneyland's probably not going to continue that very much longer. I heard that it was actually better when it first opened, and they've shrunk a lot of the interactive features down, like when you could make your own lightsaber and get in the ships. They just took all that.
Right. Yeah. You can still get blue milk though.
Oh, the blue milk. Oh, I had that cup. Next review. I actually got one of the cups. You turn it on, it like glows or whatever.
Uh-huh.
It's so stupid. It was like $37, bro.
So was Luke, so I'm okay with that. Luke was also stupid.
The blue milk, it just tastes like blue sugar, frozen blue sugar milk. That's it.
I really like that last scene. Can you go back? I really love that they showed this close up. This is a look at what Star Wars normies are going through. These are workers. This is like their gloves that they're all hanging up. I thought this was a great way. We always see, the leaders of Star Wars. We get the Jedis, we get the Empire, but we never get like the normies. Like, what are they doing?
Common
what
folk.
Are the average person doing?
Yeah.
And I love that about this show because we're kind of getting that look, which, it's Firefly's 20th anniversary yesterday, I think, or the day before yesterday. And that's what Firefly was. It was a look at the common folk. And so I kind of like that flavor here with Andor.
Yeah, I gotta say, give Disney about 5 minutes before you can buy these gloves on Disney.com.
Yeah,
I'm 100% serious. You think I'm joking? No,
I'm not. But
yeah, they'll light up and everything too.
There they go, the workers picking out their gloves.
Yep. Yeah, I do sort of miss the manual labor sometimes.
I love this exchange.
Okay.
I love this exchange.
Talk to me why?
It's just very witty. Basically, Cassian comes up and he's like, okay, you were here. You did this. This is what happened last night. He's looking for an alibi from his friend. Brasso's his name. And then he gets to the end of it and Brasso's like, well, here's what really happened. And then he changes the story up and basically says, and then you apologize to me. So it's like this it's like a conversation happening within a conversation. Brasso's angry at him for his behavior and the way he's acting in general and putting him in this situation. It's just really fantastically written. Please give it an upvote. Clever writing here, even though it's not exciting, it's mentally stimulating for me.
Yeah, I agree, except for why is this friendship not continue? I guess we'll get into that, but we like their chemistry is obviously good. We need to see more of that chemistry going forward. And
well, we got a backstory on it. So if you were paying attention when he was talking to the droid and getting ready, remember in the morning, he talks about Brasso and what he's saying and what's going on with Marva. There's a whole backstory that explains this character who's basically kind of looking out for Cassian. They're friends, but he's also like trying to help him be accountable. Right. So you get all that. And then you get this meeting and I definitely feel like I feel like this relationship was earned and I care about that character. Just really good acting job.
Okay. That's fair. All right. So this is the other main character here.
This guy's a tool. Can I just?
So before Shane goes on his rant right now.
Yeah.
He is a by the book, company man / pansy. That's basically what he is.
He believes in the Empire's mission.
Right, he really does.
Does.
He's drank the Kool-Aid. He bought the book. He's following the rules.
But he's also a noob, and he's an officer. And if you've been in the military, you've seen ensigns exactly like this.
Oh, you mean lieutenants, right?
Well, yours would be
LTs.
Are lieutenants the junior people in the army?
Yeah. So lieutenant, captain, and so on. So
ours are ensigns.
Oh, really? Okay. For me, it's the second lieutenant. That was like that was the lowest officer rank, and they were the worst. I got Article 15 for punching a lieutenant in the face. You made me so angry, and he was asking me to do something dangerous, and then he got in my face, and I could feel his spit on my face, so I just punched him in the face. I got Article 15 in the Army for that.
Yeah, well, it would have been Article 15 plus. You punch an officer, that'll get you kicked out of the military. In the Navy, anyways.
I mean, I didn't get kicked out. I got Article 15 though.
Yeah, you definitely busted.
And I never got past E5 for that reason. And I never got the option to go to sergeant school. So it was probably a lot more than just Article 15 because I was hated by half of the officers from then on out. But the guy was spitting in my face, asking me to do something dangerous, and I was trying to logically explain to him why you can't take the jack off of a 2-ton truck. I'm not going to get into this right now, but he deserved to be punched in the face.
All right, fair enough. This actor's name is Kyle Solar, and I'm going to upvote him because his acting was superb in this show. I hated him to the nth degree. I couldn't stand this putrid, disgusting character. So Cyril Karn, congratulations to the character. I believed I definitely appreciate the fact that you made me disgusted by this character.
Yeah, it reminds me of Second Lieutenant Chu.
Yeah, you need one of these guys. Now, as the show progresses, it gets a little weird, but essentially this guy shows up here and he's like, these men were murdered. We need to do something about it and blah, blah, blah. And we need to investigate it and blah, blah, blah. Did you fix up your uniform? Is that he custom tailored his own uniform and sewn stuff? Yeah, this guy's all in.
Yeah. He customized his uniform.
Yeah, it was great. And this guy I love this guy who plays basically like the chief. He shuts all the doors. He's like, yeah, those guys, we're going to have to make up a story because they were in a place they weren't supposed to be, doing something they weren't supposed to be doing with way too much money than they should have. And we need to make this go away because it's going to make us look bad.
Right. They don't want the Empire snooping around just as much as the commoners don't. No one wants to attract the attention of the Empire. The Empire is the worst of the bad. It's like they're corrupt, sure. But the Empire, they have no problem just killing, they don't want, dude, I always wondered that. And that's really great. I'm going to upvote this because it's a good distinction.
Yes.
In so many parts, so many shows and parts of Star Wars since the prequels, it seems like only the Jedi are afraid of the, infiltrators or the Sith or anything. But think about this from a local government perspective. You don't want Darth Vader or any of his lackeys showing up on your planet, right?
I don't. Yeah, 100%.
It's never going to be a pleasant experience, right? It will never be a pleasant experience.
Right. No, good point. So yeah, so they did a good job of here setting this up, and for you to immediately dislike that character, and you like this guy because you're like, yeah, those guys were tools. They were terrible, and they jumped Cassian basically to steal his money, so they deserve what they got. So.
I think it's hilarious. You have this like stiff guy, and you have this other guy with he comes into his superior's office who literally has his feet up on the desk. He's like, "What's up, man? What do you want?"
Yeah, then he's like, he's kind of, you can tell he's green, so he's kind of talking down to him the whole time. But at the same time, he recognizes this guy's probably going to be in charge at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Because he said, if you're ever here doing this, because he's getting ready to go give like a lecture about how just the writing is really witty. Like it's very intelligent.
It is.
Well done. There's no wasted stuff happening here. And even though the show is like really slow, and we'll talk about that at the very end of this episode, if you like intelligent television or movies, and you're a thinking person, then you're probably going to enjoy this.
Right. It is super slow though.
It is slow, but I think people who are willing to like play chess, I would say like if you're a fan of like playing chess, then you're going to be a fan of this show. My guess. Chess is slow.
I mean, I love chess, and to be fair, I'm not really a fan of the show yet.
How much do you love waiting for your opponent to take his turn and you got to sit there and freaking wait?
Oh, you see, I play online chess where I'm doing something else.
You're like against a computer or somebody else. Right. I'm talking about the mental gymnastics. And that's what this is. Sometimes
you mean sitting across from someone?
Yeah, exactly.
See, I'm constantly hounding them the whole time. So I'm having a great time.
So what I'm trying to say is like you like the active part of it. But what I'm trying to tell you is Andor is like a game of chess where you're waiting for the opponent's move. And it's a little bit frustrating because it's slow, but when you do get the next move, it's exciting again. And you're kind of going through that entire experience through the entire episode.
All right. Just so everyone knows, I'm a class 2 rook on chess.com. So come get me.
Nice.
By the way, this scenery looks amazing. I know all this isn't practical, but like what you have is a mix of practical effects and then painted on, right? And it looks beautiful. You have the practical effects, what he's standing in front of, and whatever is up here there was a big giant green or blue screen right behind all these buildings, and they painted on the mountain, and it looks like places I've been. Like I've been to parts of Mexico that look like that. It's very good. It's very clever.
Yeah. But it still has a Star Wars feel to it.
It does, bro.
This is very Star Wars in here.
Star Wars.
It's simple. It's
although I'm pretty sure we have some of these mail crates at our shop. But.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, this whole thing is Star Wars. And it has everything feels very real. Like again, in other shows, like the desk would be real here, but behind them would be a projection. And while you can't really tell when you're watching it, when you see a comparison, there is definitely a big difference. Like there's a real depth here that you can't really get from some of the virtual sets, in my opinion.
I agree with that. Yeah. So Cassian's coming into this place here because he's looking for someone. We find out he's looking for this girl. The guy sends him to the back. She's repairing some sort of vehicle. We're going to find out this character's name is Bix, which I thought Brian would like since he likes to go by Bex.
My nickname is Bex. Yeah.
And so this is Bix, and Cassian wants to sell something. He has an untraceable NS9 Star Path unit, which we don't really understand what that unit does for a couple of episodes, but I'll go ahead and tell you now. It basically allows you to track Empire starships.
Okay.
For up to 9 parsecs without them knowing you're tracking them.
And to be fair, that's a very Star Wars
thing. That would
thing.
complicate things to have a second, right? It is very, and it's also something that would be hard for people to get their hands on, and you can see why it's valuable. So that was very very well done.
Yes, it was. I like the shop that they're in. It looks very Star Wars. Everything here looks very, again, like they got the aesthetic down. It's so perfectly Star Wars. It's almost like someone's a fan. You're right.
Yeah.
It's almost like whoever's doing the set dressing and like they understand. I gotta be honest, man. I'm not gonna keep singing Galaxy's Edge praise, but whoever created that, like they knew what they were doing.
That makes sense, yeah.
And this has the same, this has that vibe, like the open engine, sort of like the rivets, and it feels very Star Wars. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and so I want to upvote the whole fact that they're staying on track here, and this upvote I'm going to give is almost like an upvote because they're doing it right, whereas a lot of other Star Wars shows are not doing it correctly. Like this is every step of the way right here.
And Star Trek shows are not doing it.
True, yeah.
The actress here, her name is Adria Arjona.
Adria Arjona, that's right.
And she's gorgeous. So that's, by the way, it's always
shocker you were going to say that.
If you want me to like a show, like make the main characters, men or women, I don't discriminate. Make them attractive, and it's gonna work for me. They don't all have to be attractive, but like,
in the writing room, they're like, I wonder what Brian would want.
Look, just
like.
Don't
make him happy.
Don't make an entire show full of uglies. Okay, I don't want to look at myself on screen.
Nobody does. Nobody makes a show full of uglies. Come on,
that's not true. HBO Max industry, and everybody in that show is either plain or ugly. Not a single attractive person in that entire show.
Never heard of it.
It actually takes me out of it because I'm like, this is way too it's too normal.
Name me a popular show that doesn't have a good looking person in it. Name me any other Star Wars show or Star Trek show or something.
Well, there's Star Trek shows. Like I don't think anyone in Discovery is attractive. Not a single person.
Well, you actually thought first two seasons Tilly was attractive.
Well, no, the first season Tilly was cute.
Okay, yeah.
But then she spoke.
I got it. Okay, I got it.
And all the cute factor went from like cute to like really annoying really quickly.
Gotcha. Okay. Back to Star Wars. Okay, so he's here talking to Bix. He wants to sell his device so he can lay low for a while because he just killed those two guys. And he knows he's got trouble coming, and he asks her to get her contact, the guy who buys stuff. And she's like, no, it's too soon. He's like, no, listen, I really need this. I need this. She's like, you bring him here when there's like a whole bunch of stuff for him to buy. And he's like, I need this. So she's like, okay. Now, I don't quite understand the relationship here because we find out in just a second that she's dating the guy up front.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. There's like this weird kind of like sexual tension here. But as we will soon learn, I thought that they were doing something. Well, I guess we'll find out later. Anyways, at this point, she's all in on this other dude, Tim, and not Cassian, but somehow they're friends. So we don't know why.
Go find yourself a less complicated woman.
That was a great line. He's like, maybe, because he's like, I hate seeing her upset. And he's like, well, then maybe you should better find yourself a less complicated woman.
Yeah.
That was a great line.
Yeah, it's not because she's complicated. It's just because she's a woman. But
oh, dang. That was.
I'm joking. I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry. I'm joking. Don't hurt me later.
Yeah, don't worry. She'll hold you accountable later.
Oh, yeah, she will. Yeah, she will.
So we got flashback time again.
I hate the flashbacks.
Now we see this is a tribe. Definitely a tribe in the jungle. You're going to downvote it because you don't like it, or you're going to downvote it because it doesn't make sense?
It doesn't make any sense. I don't like the flashbacks. It makes the story even slower. It just drags it. It just every time. It's like,
I would say it's important.
Okay, can I tell you what the flashbacks felt for me, especially here? What it feels like for me is when you're driving and you like tap your brakes when you don't need to. It feels like every flashback is like someone tapping the brakes.
I would argue that if this story is about Cassian, then this was necessary. Even though you're right, it was slowing things down. Your world building is a slow process. And we really needed to understand where Cassian was coming from to understand his motivation. The flashbacks are critical because we don't know why Cassian is the way he is until we get through all the flashbacks in the first 3 episodes.
see, I don't know if we need. I don't think we
Do we
need.
not need to know why he
No,
is what
I
he
mean,
is?
we could have gotten, but we could have gotten that through subtext and light exposition between the characters. We didn't require a whole underlying story underneath it.
Well, they also wanted to show how the Empire doesn't care about native
sorry.
populations. Also,
Is this your first time watching Star Wars? Do you not know that already?
right? I understand that, but also having like the fact that I don't know if you want to say it later, what ends up happening to these people, it just helps with the whole rebellion idea. And this show is not about context. You figure this out. They're going to walk us through. It's like a book. Andor is like reading a novel, which is a different take on making a show, but it feels very much like I'm reading a book here. And there's a lot of extra stuff that you appreciate because you want to know more, but does cause it to take longer.
It really does.
Yeah.
Like really
the
does.
subtitles bug me. No subtitles. I'm not sure what they're saying. I guess they want you to get a feel for what's going on, but they don't really need you to understand what exactly is happening.
Yeah.
And there's no adults that I can see.
It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Like that entire scene was so frustrating, Shane. I know you're saying it's important, but like,
I mean, I think it's important to the story, but I get it. Like you didn't know. I mean, I guess all you needed to know was boom. There's Cassian. He's in some sort of like jungle tribe when he's a kid. Like, what the heck's going on here? They're talking. Something is about to happen that'll change things, and the scenes aren't terribly long, so it's just taking you away from the story a bit. And I see why that irritates you.
I also feel like, why the jungle tribe? Why the like you could have just stuck it into an already existing Star Wars setting that and by the way, there are hundreds. You know, it could have been an existing Star Wars setting that we're already aware of.
They should have just put them on Tatooine. Everybody would have been happy.
I know you're making a joke right now.
I know, because everybody complained that we spent so much time in other Star Wars settings.
I'm not saying that, but there are more settings than freaking Tatooine.
What else could they have done? We've done the cities, the city rat thing.
It could have been the jungle, but it didn't have to be another jungle tribe. It could have been a Star Wars jungle setting, right? The same planet, but with Star Wars, not like, natives and speaking. It was just.
There has to be some side of diversity. We've done the Han Solo street rat urchin thing, right? That's already been done. What else can you do with Cassian? Especially, he's got to be taken away from his family.
I just don't know why it has to be so unique. So it just doesn't. So what we need to know is that he had a family, he was taken away from it, and the empires are dicks. Okay. All right, cool. Do we?
But also we layered like they mined their planet, they killed everybody. That's what's coming. So it's like, it doesn't bother me. It bothers me that there were no subtitles. It doesn't bother me that they had his story told in a way that he's different than other Star Wars kids.
No, it's just that could have been so much more efficiently conveyed to get back to the actual story. So anyways.
Well, it matches up. So just note, it matches up in the end. There's a reason why they told it this way, because the final scene in the flashback matches the final scene in episode 3. So there was a purpose.
Okay. Yeah. All right, we're back to this goober.
Oh, he's contemplating, dude. He's bugged. Cyril is like stressing it. He's like, this isn't right. He's like,
this isn't right, man.
He's a future serial killer. You can see it.
Every one of those goobers in high school that were like, ratting on you for smoking a cigarette by the gym because what you were doing was wrong.
Yeah, that's that guy. Yeah.
Not because you were offending him, not because you were damaging property or anything. No. Because you need to do the right thing. And it's not your version of right things. You need to do his version of right things. And if you don't, he'll make sure you pay for it. That guy. Yeah, we all know that guy, and that's this guy.
And we don't like that guy. And so neither do the people who work for him, as we'll see in just a second.
Yeah. By the way, Matt, I ended up smoking 2 packs a day because of you. Okay. I just needed 1 cigarette. 1. No.
Matt was trying to keep you from being a 2-pack a day guy.
Yeah. Well, I made it worse.
So yeah, he goes in here. He's like,
and I slept with your girlfriend.
Oh, wow. All right.
Sorry.
Things we didn't know about Brian. ... So they find out here there was a illegal entry that night that the men were killed. This is obviously Cassian coming through one of the security gates or landing. No, it's where they landed, I guess. And so this guy's like, you need to find out who that is. And he's like, that could take a whole day. And he's like, do you have anything better to do? Maybe I can find somebody else who would be willing to spend a whole day doing it. And you're like, oh God, I hate this guy even more.
That guy is such a goober.
Right.
You know, I do like the fact that they're showing you that like they actually like track the ships that come in and out. Like I've always wondered that. Like, can you just willy-nilly just like take off from a planet? Like no big deal. Because that's apparently in Star Wars, that's what everyone does. But no, it looks like someone's paying attention. So
that's cool. I mean, you're right. These are like the little touches of the show that are good.
This expands Star Wars. It expands Star Wars. Yeah,
it really does. Yeah, it's a prequel that adds to the future, which is what you like about prequels.
But it also adds to the future in a very arduous way.
And also, well, I will say the only character that we are aware of so far that's in future that we know of the future of is Cassian's. So all of these other characters, there is a feeling of threat. Like we don't know what could happen to these other people because we don't know their story. So that feels pretty good as well.
Right. All right. So this setting is, by the way, I gotta back up. I gotta actually play it and risk copyright claims. I'm gonna show you this. I love this.
Oh yeah.
I like, dude, like they're like the selling of like you guys. This is again. First off,
Street Vendor.
I actually don't really like this show, but I am so in love with almost every setting.
Right. Yes. That's the problem with it. It's like we kept saying this isn't a great show, but it's not a bad show either because there's some things you can really appreciate about it.
Like, dude, like you can go down to Los Angeles right now and like you will see a version of this.
Sitting there.
Right. You will see that guy sitting there selling what looks like the same thing.
Right. So he runs into this guy, Nurchi. He wants his money back from Cassian. So it's obvious that Cassian's a scoundrel, dude. And he's
a con
not
man.
a great guy.
He's a hustler.
Man.
He's a hopper.
So, yeah, he's taking advantage of other people, and he's not necessarily a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nurchi gets him here, and then suddenly he's backdoored by this Vetch, a giant alien that looks like a big frog.
I did like the frog guy too. I did.
It's kind of cool. Yeah.
Like
I'm glad there was somebody like a big alien instead of like another person.
Yeah, I was worried about that. To be honest, we're about 3/4 through this thing, and I remember thinking like, so like where are all the aliens? Like we didn't even see like little alien creatures in like what a lost opportunity. Disney, bro. You guys sleeping right now? You have native children. You have 2 arduous, long, drawn-out native children sequences, and not a single little cute creature that you can make into a plushie and sell $1 billion worth of.
This is adult Star Wars, remember?
But guys, I don't care if it's adult Star Wars, right? Make your money. Get your bag, guys. $1 trillion. Being a $1 trillion company is not enough. You got to add some little cute creatures in there. All I'm saying is you could have had one of those kids holding a little pokey, or I'll give it a cute name and give it big eyes and sell a plushie.
Yeah, maybe. I don't really care. I hate that part of Star Wars. So.
It wouldn't have taken anything away, but
crap. It does take away when they do a Jar Jar Binks on you, or they do those stupid little penguin looking things.
You're wrong. It's the way they did it. They focused on it. You don't focus on it. It needs to be part of the background. It needs to be natural.
They don't know how to do that, bro. It's one way or the other. I'd rather them just leave it out. You know?
Well, I was thinking, like, where are the aliens here? Yeah. And finally, this, because besides from the Torgs or whatever they're called, the Klingon dogs, we didn't see anything. And then this dude shows up. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. All right, we got aliens.
Yeah, and this was a cool thing. This was good. I upvote this. This is good.
Yeah, I'll upvote this too.
And he talks his way out of it. I love how he's like shaming them into letting him go, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
this is so Star Wars, you guys. This is like so Star. This is so Star Wars. Like everything in this image right now, it screams like Star Wars. It screams you're about to go on Star Tours at Disneyland.
yes,
In 1989, and this is what you're seeing. Like this is like retro sci-fi at its best. They really have captured exactly what the original movies did with its setting. They didn't capture it with the pacing of the story yet, but the setting is so perfect. It's crazy.
I love that they didn't like out. I love that they didn't like out tech A New Hope.
Right.
You know what I mean? I love that they put it in the New Hope setting.
Right.
In a way.
Right.
Yeah. And now he goes to follow her. Like the girlfriend takes off, Bix takes off. She's got errands to run, which he's like, nah, that don't make any sense. So he decides he's going to follow her, the jealous boyfriend, right?
Yeah. What a mensch.
Of course, she's going to communicate with the seller of that Cassian, of the thing that Cassian wants to sell, the buyer.
Literally, all of this looks so good. Nothing nothing is perfect. Everything has wear on it. Like it feels like this like shaft or whatever has been there for 160 years. Like,
yeah, exactly. And she's got almost like a little Princess Leia hairdo going on here. And here's what's interesting is she doesn't talk to anybody. She's like Morse coding somebody. Like it's almost like Morse code or whatever, tick, tick, tick. And she's like doing these things. It's
I gotta
very
say,
throwback feeling.
Yeah, it is. She is so adorable. It's crazy. Yeah, this whole scene is super rad. Okay, so we get the guy at the control. The headphones look rad. I want those headphones. Shane, look at those headphones. You're good at this. That's what I want for Christmas.
Done.
Okay. By the way, you guys, it's an inside joke. I can say in passing if I like the way something looks, and Shane will somehow find it for me. Right, real quick, this lighter, see that? It's like a steampunk lighter. I still have not figured out how to get this thing to work. Every time I try to get it to work, it either burns me or catches on fire. But it's rad. I was like, Shane, that thing is. I showed him a picture of it. I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. That's the coolest light I've ever seen. He goes, oh, okay, cool. He's, and like 6 months later, this shows up for my birthday. He's like, happy birthday, bro. I don't even know where he got it to this day. Where did you find a steampunk themed lighter, bro? This was like concept art. Like
reverse image search, brother.
Anyways, the guy is the king of finding stuff. Like,
well, you deserve it.
Thanks, man. This goober again. I'm just gonna call him Goober from now. What's the actor's name? Is Clemens Schick?
No, it's Kyle Solar.
Oh, is it Kyle Solar? Really? Clemens
they
Schick?
do have a lot of them that look similar, but this is yeah.
Oh, yeah, Kyle Solar. I see it. Yeah. He has that douchebag face. It's the it's the punchable face.
Yes, it's punchable face. Everybody's like, we got to hire a guy who has a punchable face. Yes, come audition.
And honestly, best thing to have if you want to be an actor is a punchable face, because you can do a million roles and you'll never be typecast.
Agreed. And we find out quickly that all the people that work for him are like, yeah, you're dumb, and here's why. Like he wants this message put out about, looking for people on Canary. And they're like, yeah, Canary is like an off-world, They could tell him all the reasons why he shouldn't be freaking out about this thing, but he does anyways.
Right. Shipyard looks rad, bro.
Cool. Yeah, that's where Cassian works.
Look at the hollow, like instead of their nameplates or whatever, like they have like identifiers that are like holographic identifiers. You see this?
That was cool. Yeah, they're so far away, like it doesn't even play into the shot that much, but it's cool little detail.
Yeah, it's a detail that like I had to pause it on. Very cool. Yeah. Everything about this is cool. It reminds me of like a trailer park, but it's not a trailer park. But anyways, God, I wish this show was as fast as like it looks when we're doing it this way, when we're showing like little pictures, like a slideshow. The show looks better than it is.
Yeah. They should have done the first 3 episodes into a consolidated like 45-minute show.
Right.
Like that would have been better than the way they did they did this. I think they could have tightened it, but that's why we got 3 episodes dropped all at once, because they knew they were telling a story.
Yeah, back at
And
the
basically,
go ahead.
That guy fired him right now.
Right, he's fired. My bad. Thank you.
So that's the ship that he stole to go find his sister, and he was doing Cassian things, as he said, and now he's like, one more bridge burnt by Cassian. So
I love these Torgs, man.
They're cool. They're cool little dogs.
Yeah, they are cool. All right, now we're back on the jungle. Here we go.
Flashback scene, but this is interesting because the scene
right.
before.
I'm sorry, real quick. Where are all the grown-ups?
I don't know. That's the one thing that was not explained.
If I was watching this, I would assume that, like, well, maybe their species, like, either they age very slowly, or they look different. Like they never become adults like us, except for we're following an adult like us.
My guess was the adults went off because they knew the mining was happening and got killed by the Empire, and the kids are left behind. That was kind of my take for it. The scene before that, we see basically a ship falling from the sky. We missed that. And now this little group of kids is going to go out and try to find where that ship crashed to find out what happened. And that's the adventure. That's where they're going. And he wasn't supposed to go. Cassian wasn't. In fact, they told him not to put on the war paint, and he did it anyways. And then the little leader girl, whoever the kid in charge was, let him go. And his sister's there saying, don't go. He looks a little anguished when he says goodbye, too, which I thought was interesting. Because as we'll learn, this is the last time he sees his sister. So,
dum dum dum.
And episode 1 is at an end,
and that's it. So our official podcast score appears to be
no, -2.
Oh,
for being slow.
Oh, okay. I guess I have to give it -2 too, because you're right.
I mean, I there are a lot of great things that I liked about it. There were a lot of interesting stuff, but it's got to get a -2 for being so slow.
Yeah, that needs to be a rule. Every show that is too slow needs to like have a -2.
And it was, and it just didn't,
because we never think about that afterwards, like, because we're going through the scenes, like, but that needs to be an automatic thing. If the show is like overall too slow, it's an automatic -2 from us.
Yeah, and I'm doing a lot of guessing when his flashback scenes, like that whole stuff going on. I got the idea of what was happening, but I don't know if I'm right. Some pros from this first episode, in my opinion. It's a detailed look at Cassian's life, who's the main character, who the show's named after. But there are also a lot of things going on here. He's looking for his sister. He's trying to get enough money to lay low for a while, and he seems to be disappointing everyone in his life. I love the feeling of the normie Star Wars, I guess we're calling it, or what Star Wars looks like at the bottom of the level.
The commoner. Common Star Wars, yeah.
Common Star Wars people, and a great job of just showing us this whole different aspect of Star Wars and making Star Wars a bigger, better place because we understand it better.
Yes.
And I do have a con after, if you want to give your pro, and I'll give my con. And
so my pro is very similar to yours. It looks like it's Star Wars without Star Wars. It has the vibe, it has the look, all the pieces. It looks just like what Star Wars is supposed to look like, and it does expand the overall like general universe, right? Mm-hmm. That's my pro, and I wish. And I'll go into my con after you, but like I wish a part of that pro was the acting, and it wasn't for me. But we'll talk about it in a second. Go ahead, Chad.
So my con was the first episode didn't hook me.
Right.
There wasn't enough mystery. Like there's a little bit of mystery, but not a lot. I felt like they were laying down the foundation of the character, and they just didn't do a good job of they didn't really give us a clear idea of what Cassian is trying to accomplish or what they're trying to accomplish with the show. And they really need to do that in the first episode. And that's why I believe really the first 3 episodes should have been 1 episode, as we'll see as we go through these next couple, because you really need all 3 to get hooked.
Yeah. So my con is, I guess not being hooked is a good con. I would also say I don't really care about the characters. Generally speaking, the first episode of something for us when we review generally gets really high marks. And the fact that this got a 2 is technically a passive, a positive score. However, it's not what a normal positive score would look like for the first episode of something for us. It usually is much higher. So this is, it's. I hate to say it, I feel like it's all downhill from here unless something drastically changes, because the speed doesn't change. It is even slower the second episode, and which we're going to get into. So the speed doesn't change, and the characters aren't really endearing, and everything just sort of drags. And it's really hard. As much as I love the visuals and everything going on, it's very hard to illustrate that the way we're showing you, because we're showing you every 15 seconds. We're showing you a screenshot, right? Yeah. But like those 15 seconds, they drag when it's like a 10-minute scene or an 8.5-minute scene, of little kids not speaking a language you understand. It really is. It drags.
In all fairness, there was less than 2 minutes of the flashback stuff.
Okay, yeah, I'm giving that as an example, but there are other scenes where they have long period. They talk to each other a lot, and like even if the information came across correctly, it was dragged out. It felt like it was dragged out.
But you know what's weird about it? You're right. It was slow, but in a way. But to me, I didn't feel like nothing was never happening. So I think maybe some of the scenes where the boyfriend is being jealous was drug out too far. There were things there that seemed kind of long, but there were also, like I said earlier, in the pros part of it, and it's also kind of a con. There were a lot of things that happened in this first episode. Right. They touched on a bunch of relationships, and that in itself makes it feel longer, especially since the episode is only like 30 minutes.
It's 33 minutes. Yeah. Why does it feel so slow if it's 33 minutes? It felt like
an hour. It felt like an hour.
Right. Yeah. Okay, well, that's it. So our official score for the very first episode of Star Wars Andor is officially 2.
Okay, so 2 is the official score.
Two bits. Take those 2 bits and deposit them into your Star Wars Andor bank. Because next episode I'm charging you.
Oh, all right. Do we get back the 1 credit or something? Or I don't know. I thought it was funny how we haven't got the whole credit thing yet. Like next episode goes into like credits a little bit, which gave us even more information, which I thought was cool.
All right, that's it. So come back for the second episode, my friends, and hit the subscribe button on the way to the comment section to let Shane know what you thought about Star Wars Andor, because I don't really care, but he really does. Don't make me punch you in the face.
Too late.